Storytelling is one of, if not the greatest gift humanity has to call its own. And they say being a creative person is the greatest gift that anyone could ever wish to have. In some situations, that's exactly right. The concept of being able to give life to hundreds of characters, stories, and worlds that previously only existed in your head, much less come up with them, is a very beautiful thing. These stories can not only motivate us to be better people, but they can also change our lives in ways not thought possible. They can inspire us to be more creative ourselves, to be kinder, to forgive others, and teach us lessons that go far beyond your average bedtime story. They can make us laugh, cry, and every emotion in between. For hundreds, even thousands of years, we've been telling each other stories to pass down through the generations, to be studied, with some of the most outstanding surviving to this day, even though being created hundreds of years ago. We can even express our creativity in different ways other than just stories. Music has the power to make us feel every range of emotion possible, and all we have to do is hear it. The same instrument played by the same person can make us feel two different things if all they do is rearrange the sequence of notes they play. Artwork can depict places we've never even been to, but they can transport us to right in that moment like a time machine. The message it can convey through a simple, still image based on nothing but your own knowledge is awe-inspiring. They say magic isn't real, but all of that from something completely fictional, based on what already exists in our world, but previously failed to give us these magical feelings, is nothing short of it. For some people, it's the only thing that can make them feel whole, that can really have a profound effect on them. But for every light, a shadow must follow. For creatives, that's only the second half of the book. The desire to create is truly a double-edged sword. Whether it be a book or script that you're writing, the piece that you're painting, or the song that you're composing. The vision of what's to emerge when you're all done is your light at the end of the tunnel. It's the only thing that keeps you going through all the anguish. But this perseverance is not without a heavy mental toll. First, it's the inspiration, or lack of it. It's funny how at all times we're surrounded by the work of creativity, but when it counts most, we have no ideas. Days on end of mixing and matching different characters, notes, colors, throwing whatever at the board to see what sticks and what could work for the story you have. But inspiration can come from any place, as Chuck Jones says, so take a break for a while. Maybe take a walk in nature. You'll find that inspiration comes very quickly when your mind is vacant. Eventually, the stars align and the perfect combination is created, but not after putting away ideas that may never be touched again. After that comes the chase for perfection. Every word has to be the right one. There's no room for mistakes. You cross things out before you're even done writing them. Rewrite, reword, retitle, everything can be better. Hemingway rewrote the ending of A Farewell to Arms 39 times before he was satisfied. The chase never stops, but you find it. You get your hands on so-called perfection. But this is where the worst part of being a creative truly begins. The self-doubt is crippling. As you reread, what you once thought was perfect has now turned to not what you thought. You start to question whether or not your ideas are even good enough. Is this even worth it? Am I good at this? The chase for perfection just to label what you've done as sloppy. Ironic. The self-doubt cripples you for days, maybe even weeks, as you just contemplate abandoning everything, pretending like it doesn't exist and just throwing it all away. The thought of anyone actually seeing your supposed unfinished, messy, sloppy work sends shivers down your spine. If you ever had to do anything creative and anyone asks you what you're doing, your first thought is always, nothing, before they even finish the question as you slam your notebook shut. But as dark as the darkness gets, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. So eventually you decide to stop moping around in fear and put your work out there for whoever may find it eventually. And normally, this is how the story goes. But there is an alternative. Think of it this way. As hard as it is to be a creative, once the process is over and the load is lifted off your back, people will inevitably see what you've done. But that's the best part about storytelling. They can impact the lives of others and maybe even yourself. What you've done may not affect 1 million people, or 100,000, not 10,000, not 1,000, or maybe not even 100. Maybe not even 10 people could be affected by your work. But if what you've done manages to reach and touch the heart of just one person, then you'll know it wasn't in vain. That one person could be inspired to create by what you've done, and the cycle of creativity truly never ends. So to all the creatives out there, keep going. Because what you're working toward will be worth it. And what it manages to do to somebody who feels lost in a world full of what seem to be people who have it all together will be the most important thing you'll ever do.